We still have about 4 minutes, but I just want to make sure that you can see me and you can hear me. If you can chat in the chat box, let me know that you can see me, you can hear me. That would be awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Annie. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Perfect. Good morning, Kayla. Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello, Zoe. How is everyone? Perfect. So everybody can see and hear me, which is awesome. So we're having a good start to today. No technical difficulties. Perfect. Hermina, Jessica, awesome. Annie, that's good. Thank you so much. If there's any issue that you can't see me or you can't hear me, all you have to do is refresh, okay? Hello, Sherry. Hello. Just refresh your screen, or if you continue to have a little bit more technical difficulties, just exit the webinar, the link, and go back into the link as well, and you should be good. From Calgary and from Tennessee, welcome everyone. So I am located in Canada. We have Philadelphia, Saskatchewan. So I'm located in Canada, in Toronto. Our office is in Richmond Hill, if you know the area. So perfect. Good morning, Louise. How are you today? I can recognize a lot of the names. From Okotoks, Alberta. Welcome, Jennifer. There's a lot of people's names going by, so if I don't get everybody's, shout out, sorry. Perfect, Louise. Nice to hear. White Court, Alberta. A lot from Alberta. We have BC from Holland. Welcome from Holland. Honored to have you. Alberta, BC. It's going by so quick. Sorry, there's a lot. We've got a lot of attendance today. So for sure we'll have a lot of questions. Estonia, welcome. Kathy from Timmins. Shania Twain. Love her. So Lynn is from Timmins. And then we have from Botanica Spa. Welcome. Alicia and Rachel. Peace River. A lot of places I don't know, even in Canada, which would be really nice. Hello from New York. Katrina. No, not Katrina, sorry. From New York is Lena. And Toronto. We got a fellow Torontorian. Perfect. Wow, we've got people from everywhere, which is awesome. From Michigan. Perfect. So we're still building we still got people coming in, signing in. So Manitoba, Calgary, California. Esther from California. Kimberly from Calgary. Hello, hello. Steph from Manitoba. So we have about another minute. Montreal, bonjour, Chantal, comment ça va? Minnesota. So I'm going to wait about another minute and then we can start because today we're going to be doing as well the demonstration. So we want to be able to fit the presentation as well as a demonstration. So let's see who I miss. Hello from Kelowna. Oh, it's going so fast. Bree from BC, Texas. I've had a lot of privilege visiting the US prior to COVID for trade shows. So I've been to Texas as well, California. It was really nice. And I've been to British Columbia too, which is beautiful. Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Been to Nova Scotia as well. That's the privilege of being a trainer. I get to go around and visit these beautiful states and beautiful provinces. So it's amazing. Tennessee, right, Tamara? Perfect. Okay, so give out your shout outs. I'm going to start because it is 1 o'clock. So I want to be able to go through the presentation. So many of you might already know me from past webinars or might have seen past webinars or might have even experienced a one-on-one training or even seen me at a trade show. Hi, Renee. Welcome from South Florida, Renee. I may have seen me at trade shows as well as I do some classes there. So if you remember me, that's awesome. If you don't, a pleasure to meet new ones, new fellow browistas. So today what we're going to do, hello. We got some more hellos, Cincinnati, Ohio, British Columbia, and Regina. Perfect. So today we're going to talk about this hot and trending service called brow lamination. And with tint, we're going to service them together and talk about how to do those together and be able to give somebody these new brows that can thicken, fluff, without any invasive procedures that might not be their option. So we're going to do this. Perfect. I see some more people signing in. So we're going to talk about this trending service, and it's going to be by Refectosil. So we're going to learn from the Refectosil brand. So I'm going to do a little brief introduction of myself for those who don't know me. So my name is Chrissy, and I am the head trainer for North America for Refectosil. I do have quite a passion for Refectosil, love everything that they're about Refectosil. They're always coming out with innovations, new trends, and keeping it fresh when it comes to our brows and our lashes, even when it comes to the nail industry. Thank you. I see beautiful comments. Thank you, Ashley. That's so sweet of you. Even in bringing in the male clientele, how can we help them? And you might not have thought of even bringing the male clientele into brow lamination as well. So we can talk a little bit. So if you have any questions about how, we can answer that at the end. But that's who I am. I do have an aesthetic background as well. So I've been in the beauty industry for since 2000. Outdates me. But I've been maybe about 7 years now dealing with Refectosil. So I enjoy it, and I enjoy teaching everybody to be able to use Refectosil. Okay, so we're gonna start. Hello. You did, Ion. So if you guys look at the comments, I hope I said the name right. They got the brow lamination done and they love it. And I don't know if you can tell, but I have the brow lamination as well. My brows are pretty thin. As I get older, fortunately, I lose hair in places I don't want to lose hair, but that's life. So I'm getting thinned out brows. So the brow lamination has made me feel so good. Like I enjoy it, especially if I'm teaching about brows. I need my brows to be on point as well. So the brow lamination has been something I love tremendously. Yes, you can watch the video afterwards, Caddy, as well. There'll be a recording. Okay. Thank you, Many. Okay, so let's start with the presentation so we can see this live webinar. If we try to keep the questions till after the presentation, I won't miss any because we do have a lot in attendance. So I might miss some. So if we keep the questions till after the presentation, I can also answer them during my demo, okay? Hello, Benita. I remember Benita. Okay, so let's start off a little bit about Refectosil, especially if I know everybody knows about Refectosil or has heard it or has experienced it because they have been around for over 70 years. So it's a little brief introduction about Refectosil, as they are the world leading brand since 1930, and they do represent in more than 65 countries. And they're just expanding. So Refectosil lash and brow tints, they have proven and are recognized due to millions of successful applications as a leading product. Okay, so even if you follow our Instagram page, our Refectosil North America, you will see, oh, somebody says they see nothing. Chantel and Miranda, refresh your page. Refresh your page because everybody else said they could see. So just, if you refresh your page, you should be good, okay? Yeah, so I am in the corner, smaller screen, and then the bigger screen is the presentation. So hopefully you guys can see me, okay? Perfect. So as you can see from our Instagram, as I was mentioning, if you haven't followed, please follow, because I've been doing this thing called Monday Makeovers, and I like to take any Refectosil service that you, as my fellow browistas, do. I like to showcase them on What's Monday Makeovers. So you can see that we get tagged so much that there's hundreds and hundreds of people using Refectosil with the amazing results. Once they've done even training or webinars, and they enjoy using Refectosil. So today is the aim for you to enjoy using now Refectosil even further with brow lamination, okay? So let's look at this slide. This slide, I just added it in here so that you can see the range of Refectosil, just to have that idea if you are not really familiar with Refectosil. So we do have our 8 colors plus a bleaching paste. We do have our lift kits, our curl kits, our mini starter kits, our artistic starter kits where you can do different colors by mixing your colors. You can do rose gold, you can do violets, you can do steel blue. So we have a huge range. And as well, we have boosters, like a growth booster to help your lashes and brows. And as well, you have aftercare, which is your styling gel and your care balm. So we do have a good range. Let me just see, has anything started? Chantel, we have started. We did a little bit of the intro. So just refresh your screen, or you might have to exit and go back in again if you're having issues, okay? So hopefully that will help. So we do have a huge range, Refectacil, when it comes to being able to bring in all your demographic, like all your clientele. You can do from males to beard tinting, to brows, laminating tinting. You've got a whole range. Funky colors for those youthful ones that want to have funky colors on their brows. We can cater to all. Okay. Okay. So I know you got some feedback there, Chantal. You're on a laptop, so just refresh. Refresh your screen. Otherwise, you might have to exit and go back in, or you have to check your settings. Is your camera on? You just got to check your settings to see that you can see me. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Where's the best source to purchase the products? Kawana, if when at the end you'll see an email that you can reach out, because depending on where you're located, we have different distributors, US, Canada, provincial, state. So if you email at the end, you'll see the email. We can help you find the closest. Okay. So let's go now to the trend. So what is this trend? So everyone we know wants them, but few of us can have that look. Me one. So beautifully defined, full yet natural looking eyebrows without painful treatments or permanent makeup. So not everybody is fitted to do that, or some people might not have the money, because at the first service, the cost can be $600 to $700 for microblading or permanent makeup. So so you have to be able to cater to your clientele. If you have ones that can't do microblading, but you are offering microblading, well, now you can do brow lamination and offer to those clients that are not an option for that. So this is really perfect service. The new brow lamination trend creates more volume, stability, because you can fit those hairs to stand up each individually, so it looks fuller, and then you get your fullness. Okay, the service. So the new brow lamination by Refectosil surface breathes new life into the eyebrows and coerces the brow hairs into an ideal shape. So we'll look through different types of brow trends that you can achieve with brow lamination. I know there's a bunch of questions. Chantal, we have started. We started about 9 minutes ago, but don't worry, this comes as a recording as well. So you'll get it after in the thank you email. And then we also put it up on YouTube, our channel. So don't worry, you haven't missed too much, okay? Yep, you'll be able to rewatch it. Perfect. Okay, so now we go into this slide because we don't have an individual kit for brow lamination. What the good thing is that your eyelash lift kit and your eyelash curl kit both can work as dual, right? So they're double practical, double use. So you can use the solutions that are in your lash lift kit or in your eyelash curl kit. Use the bowls, use the brushes, and you can use these to perform the brow service. So don't need to go purchase anything separate. If you already have these kits, go ahead. And then you just have to refill. You have to refill the solutions, basically, because you will be using more solution because it's the brows, much more thicker. They suck in the solution. So you do go a little bit more with the solution on brows. So you'll have to make sure you have the stock. Okay. Okay, I hope we're good, Chantel. It works fast because we have faster times as well. So 8 and 5 minutes. 8 minutes for your lash perm solution, 5 minutes for your neutralizer. Pretty quick. If you remember, if you're a user of Refectacil from a while ago, maybe even 5 years ago, our timings used to be so long. It used to be 20 minutes and 15 minutes, and your customers laying in bed over an hour. So I love that we can do the lash lifts, brow lifts, relaxing the hair pretty quick. Okay. Okay. And these versatile results or these unique styles you can get, here are 3 of them. You have these looks are the soap brows. So the soap brows are a little bit more like your actress, your Karen Delevingne. So they're more, they're a little bit more on the wild side. They're a little bit more of a party going on, right? Because your hairs are actually pushed up, but a little bit to the opposite direction. So you get that fullness, but also you get that that more wild look. Then we have the laminated look. So the laminated look is the most popular. Is the audio cutting in and out for everyone? Hopefully not. I hope not. Okay. Sorry. Everyone's good? Okay. So refresh. Sorry. Whoever said it was cutting out for them, refresh again. Okay. And it could be your internet connection that might be having some issues. So hopefully refresh again. So the laminated brows, thanks everyone. So the laminated brows are the more popular look. It's the more look that we talked about because they are more, as we said, laminated. Think about when you used to laminate your children's, or my mom used to laminate our paperwork before we handed it into our teacher, but it was pressed down and it kept it in that secured position. So same thing that you get with your brow lamination. You're pressing them down to the brow bone. Each hair is separated, but in a more pressed and shined look. So you have that look. So it's a more controlled look. Then you have your fluffy or feathered brow. Your fluffy or feathered brow, I always say it's in between of your laminated and your soapy brow. So you can go a little bit wild, but still have that more controlled look of a lamination. So basically your hairs are mostly going upwards. And as you reach the brow bone, you're still separate, like your brow bone to your tip, you're still separating them so you can see each hair and make that fullness, but they start to lay down more like a lamination. Okay, so that's why I say they're both, you get the both look of laminated and soapy when you do the fluffy or feathered. Karen, I'm not quite sure. It could be, I know everybody else that they could hear, so it could be your internet connection. What if you just completely exit instead of refreshing, completely get out of your, the page, like completely get out of the webinar and then go back inside, okay? Yes, and you have to turn on your audio as well. But I think she was saying it's cutting off, so it could be internet as well. Karen, try not to refresh anymore. Try to exit. Exit completely, and then come back in again. Go to your link. Re-click the link and come back in again. But it could be an internet connection, okay? And unfortunately, I can't fix that. Sorry, but you will get the recording, okay? So you'll be able to listen to it properly. The solutions. I wanted to put in here about the solution because it's nice to know what kind of solutions we are using to know like what is it that we're putting on our client. So I wanted to put this information in here. So with ingredients, collagen and cysteine, you'll be able to provide a nourishing lift. So nothing to do that will go against your hair growth, go against the moisture of your hair. We're not doing anything to strip away, but we're still providing care. And that's the wonderful thing about Refectosil, the brand. So collagen, we know, is one of the commonly occurring structural protein in the human body, and amino acids, which are your cysteine. These together are going to work together in the hair development, but also it's going to condition and protect all the hairs during this treatment. So that's what we want. We did hear a lot. There's a wonderful brands out there, a bunch of wonderful brands out there, but we did hear that if you're using a keratin lift, just be very careful to follow exactly the timing. If you do not follow the timings and you go more, you're irreversing the process of providing softness or moisture, and you're actually drying out the hair. And what happens is that your lashes or brows are going to snap off, and you don't want that. So just be careful and understand what ingredients you're using. So here we explain that for you guys, okay? So now we go into the actual, if I'm correct, the steps. Pretty easy to do a brow lamination. It's quick, it's fast, and It's enjoyable just with the rest of the services by Refectosil. So you're going to clean the eyebrows and you're going to be using our Refectosil eye makeup remover. I can show some just for the people who might not know, but we have our Refectosil Micellar eye makeup remover, and it's a 3-in-1. Okay, so basically it's non-oily. We have to use something non-oily. It is also lash strengthening. This little pink circle here, it says lash strengthening. I say hair strengthening. So it is providing moisture, those amino acids, and you're not and you're still giving like moisture to the hairs when you're removing any of the makeup. And then it's micellar. So just like a magnet, it's just able to pull out those waterproof makeups that you might have on your lashes or your brows. So even if your client comes in without any makeup, please do a wipe of the eye makeup remover, because we have the environmental aspect of pollution, sweat, oils that we want to be able to clean off of our skin area and our hair so that we can provide amazing service. Okay, then you have your saline solution. Okay, your saline solution is to degrease everything. So that's step number 2. Can you use any brand of lash lift for brow lamination, or is Refectosil specifically made to do brows and lashes? So the question is, can you use any other lash lift brand to do the brows as well? What I've seen is a lot of other brands have done a separate kit. So you just have to check with the brand. With ours, and I really have not seen it with any other brand, everybody has created a separate kit. So with Refectosil, you can use the same kit as your lashes for your brows, okay? But I've seen Ellie Bad, I've seen so many other ones that have a separate kit for brows. Okay, so your saline solution is going to degrease and make sure that you left nothing behind, including none of the eye makeup remover either, and that you have a clean canvas to work with, and start to have that the solutions penetrate nicely into the hairs with nothing interfering. Okay, so after you've done that, brush your eyebrows. So don't just start to work at them. Sorry, get your disposable spoolies, or I love using our Refectosil Browista tools. And on the other, on the other end, it's a silicone spoolie. It's nice and soft, these ones. So if you're going to use your disposable mascara ones, like I have a whole bunch of them, as you will see during my demo, I talk about you being very gentle. Because you're processing the brows, the hairs, you don't want to be rubbing, with the lashes, there's no rubbing going on, there's no brushing going on, they're on the pad, right? With your brows, when you're brushing it with a solution in it, or to make the hairs go into the desired position, be very gentle, because the hair has been processed. So I like using the silicone spoolie because it's so much more gentle on the hairs. Okay. I've had issues with very stubborn brows. Can I glue the brows in place before applying the perm solution to keep them in place? Okay, so Annie, for your question, we'll get to that step right now. So I'll answer your question, Annie. So when we brush them, try and brush them into the area that you want them kind of to be, even though with solution number 1, we're breaking down the sulfates or the bonds, and the hair, you'll have to brush it again. Just maneuver into that section so you know from the beginning where you want the hair to be. And then you're going to apply the lash perm solution. You're going to put out a pea-sized amount in your bowl, and the pea-sized amount will vary because there's a degree of brows from thin to thick, and you'll apply it in a nice dabbing. You will see it in the demo. You don't want to rub and be very hard with it. You just want to dab it on and be very generous. So in the question that Annie had, if you have very stubborn, because I have that too with a couple of my brow hairs, they're so coarse and so finicky, the rest will go nice and flow. These ones won't. So this is where you'll use not a glue, but this is where you'll use a saran wrap, like their plastic wrap. So what you'll do is after you put your perm solution, you're going to take the wrap and you're going to either do 2 pieces where you go diagonally like this on each brow, or just 1 piece and make it very taut, so that the brows are pushed down. But what's happening at this time, as you can see in the little red writing here, if you're using a brow sheet or a plastic wrap, you got to cut down the timing to 5 minutes, not 7 or 8. Originally, if you're not using any plastic to hold those hairs in place, it's 7 to 8. The reason why they had to cut down the time is you're providing that heat. You have that closed section, and the solution with that heat from the plastic wrap and the skin is allowing for better and quicker penetration, as well as holding those hairs that are being stubborn upwards. So if you understand if I answered your question, you're going to use a plastic wrap for those stubborn and thick brows. Okay, perfect, awesome. Okay, because there's no glue. We don't use any of the glue like some other brands do, which is nice. It's a faster service, right? Excuse me. Okay, so make sure that you don't apply the solution on the skin as well. Just be careful. If it does go on the skin, you'll see when I'm doing the demo, I always have my Q-tips ready. After I applied it, I take a Q-tip and I go right away because it can cause some kind of like irritation, especially if it's always good to do a patch test. So as I teach, do your 48-hour patch test. Okay, so don't do a patch test as your client is in bed sitting there because you will eventually find out too late and actually cause some harm if they are allergic. So you would take the lash perm solution, the neutralizer solution, and your tints afterwards when you mix them together, but you're going to do either on your inner forearm or behind your ear to test to see if they have any allergic reactions to the lash perm or to the neutralizer. And then in 48 hours, you call them back. So you're going to wipe it off after a couple of minutes. You're going to do your consent form with them. You're going to do your consultation with them. And then you send them home and you call them back in 48 hours. And if everything's good, then they're good to do the treatment. But regardless if you did a patch test, which you have to, it's mandatory. Please do these patch tests. You still got to be careful on the skin because it's not meant for skin, it's meant for hair, especially if they had any open follicles or whichever. You don't want it to be resting on the skin for too long. So take that Q-tip, dry Q-tip, and wipe it off right away. Okay. Can you put Vaseline on the skin for protection? Oh, there's some more questions up here that I might have missed. If you're going to wax, do you do it? Your waxing happens totally at the end. You do brow lamination, you do the tint, and then you do waxing. Okay, no open pores. You will have more reaction or allergic reaction. How can you keep off the skin? So, sorry, let me read that again. How can you keep off the skin? There's no saran on top. So in order not to touch the skin, you can use the protection cream, but I don't because the other thing is once you place a saran wrap up on the brows, that protection cream along with the solution might get squished together. So I don't. So what I do is after I've applied the solution, I don't use a saran wrap, which I kind of wish I had some with me just to see if my model might have stubborn brows. But I don't usually use the saran wrap and I have really good results. But there could be, like I said for myself, the occasional stubborn brow. So I would put the solution, clean the skin area so that you have less that's going to touch the skin, and then put the saran wrap. So yes, a little bit of it might spread onto the skin, but it's not in a big amount because you already cleaned it off. I wouldn't suggest using the protection cream or Vaseline because Vaseline is very, very oily and it will prohibit the solutions to work on the hairs because it will become like a barrier if it's mixed up. Okay, so hopefully I was able to answer those questions. Please let me know. Wax after. If they had Yaneira, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, if the customer had a bad reaction, do not do a tinting. But if they didn't have any reaction after the brow lamination, because you're not spreading the solution on areas like down here where you're going to clean afterwards. But if they didn't have any reaction, go ahead and wax. The only thing that they will feel because it's going on the skin is a tingling sensation. If the tingling sensation starts to increase and start to burn and the intensity starts to get higher and higher, that means they have an allergic reaction. Otherwise, I've done brow lamination myself for 4 times. I feel less and less and less of tingling, but that tingling sensation will still be there because it's touching skin. Okay. Hopefully that answered everybody's questions. If I missed anything, forgive me. Just having some trouble. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we have so many questions. You can watch this later. Yes, you can. We'll put it on their YouTube channel, CBON. Where can we do henna brows? I'm not quite sure for henna brows because we don't have henna brows. Um, is the makeup remover water oil base? It's mostly my water, and there's very, 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 very minimal. Yeah, very, very minimal oil in it. It's so little. That's why we say non-oily. Okay, sorry. If I'm just gonna move on because we do have to put our model as well soon. So after you put the solution number one, you're going to, and the 8 minutes or the 7 or 8 minutes is up, or the 5 minutes if you were using a plastic wrap, then you're going to remove it with the dry Q-tip. Okay, after you removed it with a dry Q-tip, please no rubbing, no aggressive, very softly. After you remove with a dry Q-tip and your Q-tip has no more solution on it, then you're going to take your silicone spoolie and you're going to put them back into the direction that you want them to be again. Okay, and then because now that you're putting the neutralizer is what's going to give that form now. Okay, just like your lashes. You break down the bonds first, you break down the sulfates, and then you put the neutralizer to reform to the new shape. Okay, you leave it on for 5 minutes. So regardless if you use a plastic wrap or not, it still stays 5 minutes, your neutralizer. After your 5 minutes, you take a dry cotton pad or a dry Q-tip, remove it all off, and then you can put some water to just clean it off. And then, or you can use saline solution because you're going to tint. So when you're going to tint afterwards, the saline solution will give that nice clean canvas, that nice clean canvas for your tint to grasp, and it's only 3 minutes. For lashes, it's 2. For brows, it's 3 because we got more hairs on our brows. Okay. And then after you remove the tint, you just use the spoolie to reshape them. Then you add you trim if you have a trim any because some of them might be longer. And then you can wax. Okay. And then we ended off with our, here, I'll show you a before and after picture. I will get to the questions. Just give me 1 second. So there's your before and after. So we do add a dramatic amount of thickness with a brow lamination. And then you're going to end it with your styling gel. Okay, so to give them the perfect finish, you as a professional are going to have this in your kit or in your station. To give them the perfect finish and aftercare treatment, you put the Refectosil Styling Gel because they're going to receive hydration, protection, and care to the brows. And this can be also sold as a retail item for them to take home. So let me just see quickly the questions. The lamination will last about, it's not as long as a lash lift because your brows are more surface, more touched, more washed, more oil gets to them. You scrub them, you use rubs, not rubs, you use exfoliants. So I could get a good 3-week wear until my hair starts to get losing its shape. Some people might last 4 weeks, maybe if their brows are a little bit thinner. I know for the thinner brows, it lasts longer, but for very unruly brows, it doesn't last as long. Okay, so I would say between 3 to 4 weeks. But if they use the styling gel, they could kind of help the hairs to stay that way as well. As the hairs start to fall in week 3, the styling gel will still help them stay up. That's what I do with my brows. Okay. Trying to see all the questions. We have about 2 more slides to go, and then we can bring the model. I'm just losing all the questions. Sorry. Okay, you can watch, is the makeup water with how long lamination? Can I thread after lamination tint? Yes, you can. Any hair removal way is done, any way you're doing your tweezing, your waxing, your threading, you do it after you're done everything from tint and brow lift, okay? So here you have somebody that is using henna brows, and it's not recommended for at least for a week. Here in Canada, we do have a sensitive brand, and apparently the solutions in the lift do not help with using the sensitive brand. So you won't get a color happening with our sensitive. So you would have to use the original if they're not allergic. How long for the perm solution? We said perm solution is 8 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes. Neutralizer is 5 minutes. The lash perm solution lessens only if you put the plastic wrap. So lessens to 5 minutes, 5 and 5. Can lash extensions be applied directly after the service? After you've done a lash lift, I was told no. I think you have to wait about 2 weeks, I believe, to put on the lash extensions because the glues can be a little bit harsh. So you have to wait. So we use a perm solution twice. No. You have perm solution. You have perm solution, which is step number 1. It's going to be a little bit hard to see it, but you see it says number 1 there. And then you have neutralizer, step number 2. Okay, so they're two different solutions. They do different things. Your lash perm is going to break down the bonds and the keratins, the sulfates in the hair. It's going to make them like your spaghetti. When you get your spaghetti, it's nice and hard. You put it into the water, and when it gets boiled, it gets all workable like this. That means it's kind of lost its shape a little bit, and then you reshape it with your neutralizer. Okay. The tint timing is shorter because you've already processed the hairs and the follicles are open. So same with when you're doing the lashes. When you lift your lashes, the tint only goes on for 2 minutes because you've processed the hairs, the follicles are still open. So if you were to put the tint on for 15 minutes, you're over processing, and that could end up not being good. Okay. If that's salt water for the question from Tuhia, if you're going to use like from the drugstore, you got to go into the first aid section and use like a salt water, like a saline. Okay. So if that's what you're requesting, sure. Just don't use the eye contact removers. Okay. We're going to have to finish with this. If we can pause on the questions, I want to finish with the slide because then when the model's in the bed, I can answer more questions. So let me just go. We have 2 more slides left. So this slide is the benefit for the salon. We want to give you a little bit benefit of what you can achieve from this as a salon doing these services. This is the perfect way to get especially disruptive and stubborn eyebrow hairs into tip-top shape, cover any gaps, which is really nice too. So I have some gapping after my arch with the hairs separating and going longer. I can fill some gaps. You will generate valuable extra revenue with this new trend service, add it on to a facial, add it on to a waxing, and use the opportunity to increase your customer loyalty. Benefit for the customers. Laminating brows has an immediate effect on the density and shape of the eyebrows. They will leave out from the salon with fuller looking and denser eyebrows, but the natural way. And then by permanently shaping the hairs, gaps can be perfectly filled without those painful treatments such as microblading or permanent makeup. And it is helpful for those bushy, stubborn hair. So even for the male clientele, if you need to relax a little bit their brow hairs because they start to get a little bit curly or they start to get really crazy, you can do the brow lamination on them to just relax it and just put the perm solution and that's it. Okay. And then reason to believe, as we mentioned, Refectosil is a long-standing brand with decades of expertise in the lash and brow area, and that makes them the market leader in the sector. And they have recognized that the brow lamination trend it's important. It's busting. It's not busting. It's booming. It's being made aware, and they found a solution that they could use their lash lift kit or their eye curl kit to be able to do both of these services. Okay. So that's the presentation. And this is a slide here. If you like to follow us on Refectosil North America. I have my own one as well as the Browista trainer. So Browista by Refectosil. Like our Facebook page, the www.refectosileducation.com. We put up all our webinars up there, apart from the YouTube channel. So please visit that. I'm going to make it a little bit more friendly with, I'm working on some, consent forms. I'm working on some PDF files that you can download and have on how to do steps and so forth. And then email me if you have any questions, education@cbungroup.com. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I was going to mention something else and I just forgot, but when I do, I will let you know. It was something. Oh, on our Instagram page, if you go to Refectacil North America, I posted last Friday a post on the booster. So if you're willing to win a lash and brow booster, go visit that page. like it, tag 2 of your friends in it in the comments, have them like, follow us and like all the instructions on there, but you can win a Lash and Brow Booster by Refectosil. It's a big 6 milliliter size. I've been using it on my lashes to help them go back to their length and gaps on my brows. So I just want to mention that as well. Go check out our page and check out that contest and you could hopefully win one. Okay, so I'm going to bring my model in. I'm going to get her to lay down and I'm going to see if I can answer a couple of questions. So I'm going to bring her in. Give me 1 second. Come in. I'm going to wear my mask as well as my model's wearing her mask. So let me just prep her. We'll have to prep the camera too. Oh, yeah. So we'll have to fix it when I plug it in. This one's not plugged in. So let me quickly see where I left off. If we can wait till the 8 minutes as well, like I feel like I'm missing a lot of people's questions unless Renee has been helping me to answer them. Just want to see where. 1 second. Can this also, do you have a consultation form? Yes, we do. If you email me, I can email you the PDF file for the consultation form. We talked about why the tint is shorter time. For aftercare for lashes, the styling gel, yes, it's for both lashes and brows. Can you go back to the numbered steps? Yes, I can. Let me just see. Oh. Yes, you can rewatch the whole presentation. You can rewatch it as well. You'll get it in an email, as Kayla said. So if any of your questions, there's a lot of questions, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go through all of them right now because I got to start on my model. So what I'll do is if you have to re-ask them, sure, but I don't have somebody here who's reading them out loud for me. But what you can do is ask it during my timing, during the 8 minutes. Okay, so let's go back to that page that she wanted to see for the steps. So that's the first steps. So I'm going to go switch the camera. So just give me a minute. As I switch the cameras, you'll have a black screen, and then we'll get. So give me 1 second. You won't see me. I'm going to switch it. Just give me 1 second. Is it possible to come a little bit more up? Sure. Yeah. Is that better? Perfect. So hopefully everyone can see that. Is that okay? You have to expand your screen. So like this. Oh, shoot. Give me 1 second. Have you opened up your screen to see it? Give me 1 second. There we go. Is that better? I'm just going to make it higher. Is that better for everybody? Yes, I can. Give me 1 second. I will take the before. You're okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I took a before. And we can see all her brows. Everything's good, okay? Perfect. So we'll go over the steps now since the slide is not there anymore. Yeah, you guys can as well. Thanks for helping me, everyone. Okay, so let me prep myself because I gotta get my mask on. Give me 1 second. I'm ready for this. Sorry about that. I have to have gloves as well with the new protocols, with our new PPE. So I've got my mask on. You have the recording. You'll have the recording as well. Okay? The camera is a Logitech. Logitech is a really good camera. I have to find the actual model because it has a number as well, but Logitech is a really good, yeah. No certificate for this webinar. It's a live webinar to show you the service. So I'm going to start. Sorry if I missed some of the questions. If it sounds a little bit muffled, sorry, it's the mask as well. So we're going to start with the prep work, as we had mentioned. We're going to grab our non-oily eye makeup remover. Everyone can hear me okay? No certificates, no certificates. It's just a training just for people to be able to know how to use it. So we're going to do, as I mentioned, if they come in without any makeup, still do this step because we want a nice clean canvas. They might even have just powder on or foundation that you still want to clean around the brow area. So make sure we do this. So I'm using the non-oily eye makeup remover first, okay? We get the other brow as well. So with our model here, the brows, I can feel the texture and I can see they are a little bit more coarser. So a saran wrap would be, or the plastic wrap would be ideal for a model like this. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but there is a little bit of curls, kinks to them. I hope I'm not able to see a lot of the questions, so if I don't get answered a lot of your questions, please email them to me and I can assist you to answer them. But when I put the solution on for 8 minutes, I can come back and see what your question is. Okay, so I did step number 1. Now step number 2 is the saline solution. Very, very important to do the saline solution. Okay, so the saline solution, same thing. Just clean the brow area. Perfect. We get the other side. Perfect. So now we have that. It's going to dry a little bit. I'm going to grab my spoolie. And I'm going to do the brushing. Now, I don't know if you can't tell with the camera, but she has some whites inside here. If you have a client that the tint doesn't grasp those whites, you can bleach with a brow lamination. Okay, so you can do your brow lamination first and then bleach afterwards. Okay, the only thing I'm waiting from the manufacturer is to find out if the time has to be cut down shorter, because bleaching can go from 5 minutes to 20 minutes. And after brow lamination, I like to know if we have to cut down. So yes, you can do a bleaching with brow lamination, but the timing, we don't know if we have to cut it down, okay? Everyone can see it? Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so I'm brushing them. So I can already tell I'm gonna have some issues with the brows because I don't have the saran wrap, but I'm gonna try and put the solution in good amount, in generous amount. And what I like to do is halfway through, I like to go in and brush and apply more solution. Okay, so now that we've brushed them, we're gonna grab our solution number 1. Remember, they have a number 1 on and number 2. Yes, lamination and lift is the same, just the wording. But lamination was what came out first, and then they started to say lift, like your lashes. Okay, so let me squeeze my step number 1 pea size amount. That's my pea size amount, but I will know that I might have to apply some more halfway through the timing. So I'm going to prepare my cloth just to have that ready for the 8 minutes. So I'm going to do full 8 minutes on her because she does have thicker brows. So she's okay for the 8 minutes. And I'm not using any saran wrap. I don't have any plastic wrap. So I'm going to mix my solution a little bit. I like to just mix it a little bit just to spread it. And I'm going to grab like a good amount of a ball. And I'm doing more dabbing, and I can already tell I'm going to have to apply some more, but I'm doing some more of a dabbing, not going back and forth, but still trying to make it go through the hairs. And I'm trying to avoid the skin. Now, if it touched the skin, like I mentioned, I take my Q-tip and I just wipe it off. Okay? I tend to do that at the end when I get all the solution on there, but I don't wait too long so that they don't have any irritation. Now, originally they won't feel it this fast, but as it's processing, they might feel that tingling. So it's always good to ask your client how they're feeling. So how are you feeling? You're okay? Good. Good. The tingling sensation is okay, but as I mentioned, if it starts to intensify or it starts to feel burning, that's when we know that they have an allergic reaction. So I apply the solution, and I know I'm going to have to apply some more on those tips, but I'm going to do the other end too. I'm going to do the other side as well, and then I'm going to touch up any areas that I'm missing, okay? So try and be generous. That's why I like to grab like a ball like that. So as you can see, if you're going to be picking up on a lot of brow laminations, you will go through your solution pretty quick. So once again, my strokes are pretty soft. I am not being too aggressive. And the Browista tools are actually really good. They're not very harsh or hard. Okay, so I got the solution on. I'm happy with this side, but I just need to put a little bit more on the other side. I can start my timing now of 8 minutes. If you had the plastic, if you had the plastic wrap, you would place it on now, but you would only do 5 minutes. Remember that, okay? I start the application time right after I finish the second brow. That's for me because then I know when to remove the other one. So it's up to you. If you want to start the timing right away, if you do one brow, just factor in the timing when you gotta go back, or when you, for the second brow to take off. Bleach them, because if they have grays in them or wiry, coarse hair, sometimes the tint won't grasp those hairs. So you would have to bleach in order for the tint to get all those white, wiry, coarse hairs. Sometimes I find the brow lamination soft in those, but if you still don't get the color to penetrate, then you have to do the bleaching. Okay? Caddy, no certificates. There's no certificates. There's never certificates for our webinars that we've been doing for years. We don't give out certificates, unfortunately. Sorry. What about the silicone pads? I haven't tried it with the silicone pads to put it on the brows, and it hasn't been suggested either by Austria, by Refectosil, but I could always see, I'm not quite sure the silicone pads would stick pressed down. You need that very pressed down, and you know the plastic wrap, when you stretch over the skin, it sticks pressed down, right? So I don't think the black silicone pads would do that. The saline solution, your local beauty distributor should have it. No contact solution. The saline solution that we use is made for the beauty industry, and it's not the contact solution, because the contact solution has a little bit of soap as well to clean your contacts. So you have to get salt water if you're going to go to the first aid, but you have to, Refectosil has it. Whoever the distributor carries Refectacil tints or the lift should have the saline solution as well. If you're putting any emails down here, it's better, if you want a consent form, it's better to get the email, and I'll put it back again. The education@cbongroup.com. It's better just in case to also email me there to give you the consent form, okay? Yep, saran wrap. Do you bleach after lamination? Yes, you bleach after. The step number 1 has a little bit of a perm smell, but it dissipates in like about 8 seconds. There's other brands where it stays there for the whole treatment, and I don't like that because I don't want to be breathing that in. I don't want my client to be breathing that in as well. So right now, I don't smell it in the room. I don't know if my client smells it. Do you smell it?
No.
Or a model, sorry. Yeah, so she doesn't smell it either. So it's a pretty quick smell and it goes away. So what I'm doing right now, we're only at 5 minutes, but at the 4-minute mark, I'm actually going to go in and brush her brows. And distribute that solution properly. I'm just applying some more here because I can see some of the grays, some of the whites, they're being a little bit stubborn. So this is a perfect model for you to know when you have to use a saran wrap, but I've done all the past webinars. I haven't used it, but it's pretty easy. I would just pull the saran wrap nice and tight and rest it on the side here, pull it nice and taut, and it would hold those hairs down. Okay, but it would penetrate the solution faster. So at my 4-minute mark, which is pretty soon, I'm going to go in and brush them out, okay? Blonde brows, so you can do the light brown, but it might be too dark. You can do the graphite, but leave it on for like only 3 minutes. But if you use a light brown, once again, I would do 3 minutes too, because the light brown tends to get pretty dark. So you might have to, you would have to remove it right away at 3 minutes. Spot On Beauty carries the entire Refectosil brand for all of Canada. So we got that for Canada. The percentage of the lifting solution, I'm not quite sure the percentage when you mean, there's a bunch of different ingredients in there, so I'm not quite sure. I can always share. We do have product files, product sheets that tell you the ingredients that are in there. The average cost, so because, yes, you can use graphite on its own. Yes, you can. On, even if you have the clients that have the silvery gray hair, you can use that on their brows. If they're blonde brows, I would still use a light brown or the graphite, depending if their hair is a clean blonde, like if their hair is like a cool blonde, you can use a graphite. If their blonde is more of a warm tone, you can use the light brown, or you can mix them both together to cool down the brown and then use that on their brows, okay? The average cost, so we say it's about the same pricing as your lash lift though, because this is such a trend, a popular trend, everybody's getting it done. I've seen people charge up to $200 on the whole thing. You're going to lift, tint, and then shape. So we usually say $70 to $90 is just for the lifting. If you're gonna start tinting, you can go up to 100. And then if you're gonna do it all with shaping, you can even go up to 150. 200, depending on your client, like your demographics, you can go up to 200 if it's an area that are willing, you know, if you're in a small little town that doesn't have or is not able to pay that much, you have to find your in-between for your demographics, right? Yeah, just make sure you're red. Light brown and red is great for strawberry blondes. Just make sure that your red is a very small pin size amount because it can be very overpowering, okay? Is there ever issues with Hashimoto's or thyroid? So we're not doctors to know if there's going to be any what's it called, contraindications. That's why it's really good to do a patch test, because mostly it's what medication they're taking that could affect the skin, that could affect the solution that's touching the skin. So for example, I know from personal experience at a class that a student told me is that their client had matarosis. So they were losing hair in their brows and lashes. They were getting bald spots, and the medication they take makes their skin very sensitive, and they burn through the skin with a tint. So I always ask the client, what medication you're taking, what is it for? And that way I can try and gauge if it's going to do something to the skin, but we're not doctors, so we don't know everything. So it's best they consult their physician. And if a physician gives them a go, like they can come and do it, write it on the consent form. Anything they have, anything you're doing, write in the consent form and get them to sign it, okay? How much tint and how much hydrogen? We're going to go for the tint. You can only get 7 or 8 laminations. 7 or 8, that's it, because you're using so much of the solution. So I'm just going to show you quickly that I'm going to brush through the hairs. I'm at the halfway, and when you're brushing, you can kind of see if they've been taking to their form, and they have. So you can kind of see they soften because I can maneuver them. Okay, so because I did that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the skin area because you see how it touched. So my timer is off. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm still going to leave it on for another like 30 seconds. Just where I touched it, and I'm going to brush the other side to see has it taken. And you can do this step as well with your saran wrap. You can take the saran wrap off and brush through just to see how they've been taking, and we can tell that they're getting relaxed. You will have to do a trimming. You see how they're relaxed? There's some that are longer. I'm not quite sure if you can tell. So I'm going to wipe off the skin. Perfect. And I'm going to just put it again on the other side and leave it for that 30 seconds while I remove the other side. Okay, so I'm going to remove the other side with a dry Q-tip. So I'll get back to your questions afterwards. Yeah, we have a lot of questions. You might have to repeat them again. Hold, give me 1 second. I'm going to remove dry Q-tip. So I could see there's one or two hair that's being stubborn. So there's one right there. There's one right there. So the saran wrap would have helped with those stubborn ones. So dry Q-tip and just make sure that all the solution is off before you put the neutralizer. Okay. And you can tell by your Q-tip when it's less pink. And you can brush it because now that you're going to put the neutralizer, you want the hairs to be where they want to be. So if you're going to do a more laminated look, you're going to press them there. And then the step number 2 is what's going to form them back down, okay? So dry Q-tip, still being really gentle. And now what we're going to do is prepare our step number 2 and our bowl number 2. And the step number 2, it's more of a cream, a white. Okay. And as this is now, it's going to give its shape. So if I want it more laminated, I'm going to try and make the brows rest that way. I wouldn't want to do the bushy on her or the fluffy. She did have pretty thick brows. So we're trying to do the laminated look. I'm just going to grab my Q-tip, clean around. And then put it on the other side. And this is going to stay on for 5 minutes. So always have with you that plastic wrap, just in case you have a customer like this, and a bleaching paste. Because if you're going to get a client that has really wiry, white, coarse, gray hair, have both options, the saran wrap and as well the bleaching paste. Okay. Going to clean the area. So my timer is on for 5 minutes. So this neutralizer always stays 5 minutes. I'm just going to go touch up. And try not to be rubbing too much because you're also going to lose the shape that you want, that you had brushed the brows. Perfect. Okay, so while that's processing, let's see the questions. Here, I'll put the email. It's education If I miss questions, you can re-ask them again. education@cbongroup.com. And you can ask for the consent form there, and you can ask any other questions I can help you with. Yeah, after in the thank you email, you'll get the recording. Do you have a client form for the service? Yes, if you can email me at education.com, at education@cbongroup.com, I can help you with that. Can you rub with the rubber spoolie as well to keep the hair straight? Can you brush with the rub? Yeah, well, I went through half of my timing of step number 1. I went into the brows and brushed them because I needed to see if the solution was penetrating through because her brows were more coarse. So you can use the rubber spoolie. I wouldn't continuously keep rubbing them, brushing them, because you want the solution to penetrate. So you can do it two times during your 8 minutes. So I wonder if that answered your question. Do we use plastic wrap with Neutralizer as well? Yeah, you would put it on both. You can put it on both, but with the Neutralizer, it just stays 5 minutes still. Okay. What step would you use the bleaching? What step? After you're done the lift, you're going to bleach. And after the bleach, when you tint, the tint is only 1 minute. Okay? Because you've now stripped away, right? Color. So your tint will only take 1 minute. So laminate, bleach, then tint. Why is the reason for tint first, then lift? It's lift first, then tint. Right, so you're going to, as we're doing right now, we're lifting, and then I'm going to apply the tint, but the tint's only going to stay on for 3 minutes. How much for the only color? So for coloring the brows, for tinting the brows or coloring the brows or dyeing, we say about $20 for brows, 20 to 25, and then 25 to 30 for lashes. Does the bleaching solution come in the kit? No, it doesn't come in the kit. It's on its own, a tube. And you can only use the cream oxidant. So your bleaching paste looks like, it's called Blonde Brow. Oh, the camera's on this way. It's called Blonde Brow. Okay, so it's not a color. You don't mix it with colors. You take this, 2 centimeters of this, and you mix it with your cream developer. Okay? And you leave it on, depending, if it's just for gray hair, you leave it on 3 to 5 minutes for pre-softening of the gray hair. And then if you want to strip away like black brows to give them a new color, then that varies. 5 minutes, 12 minutes, or 20 minutes, depending what level you want to. So, because the higher you leave the bleach on, the brighter the color is. But you can't go past 20 minutes. If you go past 20 minutes, you will damage the brows. And also, you need to make sure you wipe it off properly, because bleach and peroxide it mixed together. The bleach keeps working. It doesn't stop. Okay? Like your tint, after an hour, it stops. It won't tint anymore. So how much cream developer? 23 to 25 drops to 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch of your blonde brow. With your tints, the cream is only 15 drops and the liquid is 10 drops. Yeah, you can use give me 1 second. You can use cream or liquid for the tints. I always, in your Lash and Brow Bar, that you buy, that's about $200 and something, you get your cream oxidant. You get this one, but we also have a liquid, which is only 10 drops. Let me just see, there was some other question before I wipe it off. Yeah, so you can use the cream or the cream or the liquid. It's your choice. I just like the cream because when I do a lot of demos at trade shows, the client's sitting up on a chair, so just gravity. And if I do beards, I like it to be thick, so I like the cream. And then for bleaching paste, I use the cream. So I'm mostly using the cream, but I use the liquid just as efficient. They both give you the same results. Just texture-wise,
or consistency-wise, it's whatever you wish for. Repeat the cream developer, 15 drops to your tint or 23 to 25 drops to your bleaching paste. There's nothing superior, like the cream, obviously you do more. So in a sense, that's superior, but the results are the same when it comes to tinting. So because the cream oxidant you're going to use for bleaching paste, many will prefer to do that. I use both how I wish. I intermix them, but if I'm going to do a bleaching or if I'm going to do a beard, I always have the cream. Lift kit versus curl kit. The lift kit has silicone pads, which lifts the lashes straight up and gives them length. The curl kit has rollers, which the hair wraps around half the circumference of the roller, which you give it a shape, or C curl, like your extension. So less length, more of a shape. So I like using it on male clientele, the curl. Also, if you have really, 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 really long lashes and you don't really need a lift, you just want a shape, you can use the curl. Usually for lashes, it's the pea size. Her brows are pretty thick texture, so I have to use a lot more. I've done thinner brows where I use less than this, but I already saw that some of her, if you have the plastic wrap, you should be okay to use less. I don't have the plastic wrap with me, so hence why I went with a little bit more. And I'm going to brush it just to see. So we can see all the individual hairs. We can see thickness, more thickness. For sure, they'll be needing a little bit of a trim. But if you round them off to that laminated look, sometimes you don't have to. Depends on the client. Okay, so because our timing is up, I'm going to wipe. Dry Q-tip, it's still dry. You can use a cotton pad if you wish. I just like to use a dry Q-tip. And then I can go ahead and use the cotton pad. Oops, sorry. So I took off the one side, and what you can do now is take a cotton pad with a saline solution, because we want to prep it for the tinting, okay? So I'm just going to wipe it. And as I mentioned, this is really good for you to know for your client. I can still see the 1 or 2 hairs here that didn't want to take form, but I'm sure if I had the plastic wrap, I could have made them press down more and penetrate the solution better. Okay, so if you have very stubborn client, like brows from your client, make sure you have that plastic wrap available. So once again, dry Q-tip. Once again, another dry Q-tip, just to make sure that there's no solution. Then I'm going to take my saline as well on that brow. Prep it for your tinting. Dry it if you have to. If you wet it too much, just take your dry cotton pad and dry it. Brush it out. My spoolies are both dirty, so I'm going to grab another spoolie. I'm still going to be really gentle. Okay, and now I'm going to mix my tint. And what I'm going to use is both browns. I don't want to go too dark because her brows are darker and her hair is a little bit lighter, but I'm going to use both browns. I'm going to use the 3, which is a natural brown. I'm going to use a 3.1. Oh, sorry. I'm going to use the 3.1, which is the light brown. Okay. And I'm going to put, we have our nice little Browista tools, this little tool right here that rests on your palm right there. And sorry, it was blurry. Oh, it's not showing the line in the middle. Give me 1 second. It's a little blurry, but there's a line in the middle that you can put your 2 centimeters. It helps you to put the accurate amount. Okay, so let me put my tints, my light brown, and my natural brown. Thank you. I'm seeing some comments. So you see, you can see that the hair is more laminated because it's pressed down. I do the more fluffy upwards look. But imagine if we had used the plastic wrap, even more, because I can see, I don't know if you can tell through the camera, but in this area here, the hair is not as pressed down as I wish it could be. But we know that the plastic wrap will just make it perfect. Okay, so I have my 2 centimeters. Okay, light brown, natural brown. I'm going to take my oxidant cream and I'm going to pour in 15 drops. So there's my 15 drops. I'm going to show you. So 15 drops. Oh, sorry for the blurriness. And I'm going to mix it. So let me just mix it first and I'll show you after. It's going to get a nice creamy texture. If it's too watery, just add a little bit more tint. You want it to be a nice creamy, a little bit thicker consistency. Okay. So I'm just mixing it. And you see you get a nice creamy texture. Okay. So I'm going to start on her outer brows. So right now, if your clients, you can still see that they weren't relaxed as much, the white hairs, you can bleach. So you would put the bleach on and you leave it on for just 3 minutes. And it will soften those gray wiry hairs, okay? So I'm gonna start with the end here. And I use protection cream too around, you can use our protection cream and place it all around the brow area. But I tend to go in and do it clean like that. But I want to do the outer corners first so that they can have an even tint. And then we're going to leave this on for 3 minutes. So I just want the tint to grasp first these outer corners. Okay, let me just clean around and then I can place the rest of the okay. So I can already start my timer because I know I don't want them to, like, just 3 minutes. I can start it right now. Okay, 3 minutes.
Okay, so we got that on there. Make sure you get a little bit of the tip too. And I'm just gonna go clean it now. Like clean the edges, like give it a crisp. Okay, so we leave that on. She has about another 2 minutes of it. Okay, so Tammy in the US, once again, if you email me, we can find the closest distributor to you in your state, okay? Oh, your spa's in Tampa, Florida. Oh, you can buy from Flamingo. So Flamingo Supply. Or check Marlowe as well. Yep, but Flamingo Supply is in Dorian, Florida. I forgot what you called the area, but yes. There's no certificate on these webinars. There has never been on our webinar certificates. But if you want a consent form, you can email me at education@cbongroup.com and I can send you a certificate. Okay? Yes, Flamingo's in Miami. Sorry, I don't know why I said Doral. What happens if your mixing ratio is off? Well, if you have less oxidant, you're obviously not going to be able to penetrate the solution into the brow. So make sure that you get your 15 drops of liquid or of cream or your 10 drops of liquid to your 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch of tint. If you're going to use less tint, like half of the 2 centimeters, then drop down your liquid to 5 and drop down your cream to 8. Okay. Okay, so the timing is up. So once again, I'm just doing with a dry Q-tip. And then you can do a little bit of water. And then you can brush them because we're going to put the styling gel. So during that 3 minutes, her brows took tint. You can tell right away the hair was receptive to receive it faster. So be aware with the bleaching, you'll receive, the tint will get even faster. So monitor that. The last thing you want is your customer to not be happy because the brows were too dark. And then now again with my wet cotton pad. And then this is a stage if you had to do cleanup, you would do cleanup. If you had to do some trimming, you would do a trimming. But what I would do now is grab my styling gel. Just trying to
Get it? So styling gel, get a disposable mascara wand. No double dipping. You don't want to cross-contaminate. And then you can put it onto the hairs. And then you can do a little bit just a cleanup. So that's it. What is it? Well, how do you feel with the look? So she's got the darkness, she's got the thickness, and you can always, I'll take a picture at the end. I can always post the results. But if they needed a little bit of a trimming, you know, you can grab your scissors and maybe like do a little bit of the trimming, you know, of longer ones. But you can fit that all in with the service, okay? Perfect. So that's the results. I see that. Thank you. And I think somebody said something about if you don't have the styling gel, I would suggest try and find your local distributor that has one. It's a good product to have. It's also a good retail product for your client to take home and use it. Like say after the 3 weeks that their brows are, like myself, when my brows start to get a little bit losing the brow lamination shape and they're getting kinky again, they're getting back to their unruly state, I use the styling gel, okay? Perfect. Thank you. It's pretty easy service. How long would you have to wait before you wax? Wax right away. You can go in right away and do your waxing after brow lamination. And as you can see, she didn't turn red. She was pretty good. She might have felt a little bit of a tingling sensation, but she didn't turn. Her skin looks good. Hasn't been compromised. Sorry, can we do this to ourselves as well? Yeah, you can do it for yourselves. It's not your eyes, or you have to have one closed, so you can do it on yourself as well. What is the tint timing for brows and lash without the lift or lamination? So your lashes, you can go up to 15 minutes, especially when they're thick and layered. Brows, 3 to 5 is if the client wants them really light, and then 5 to 10 if they want them darker, and then up to 15 you can if they like, you know, they want that more standout look, that more dramatic look. Okay. For redheads, we do have a chestnut and we do have a red, Shelly. We do have a red on its own. Sometimes I like to mix it in with, I don't use it on its own because it can be pretty powerful, the red. So try and, depending what kind of redhead they are, I like to mix it with the browns. The browns do have a warm undertone, so it helps with the red. No, not today, lashes. It's only brows today. The webinar is over. No lashes today, but if you go to refectacil.education.com, you can see the lash webinar. Perfect. Okay, so what I can do is I do have another webinar at 3 o'clock, but if there was any questions, I can try and transfer the camera back. Give me 1 second. I'm going to... Give me 1 second. I don't know if you want to still lay down, but I'm just going to answer another 1 or 2 questions. But
Did you want to do it before and after?
Oh, I'll do the after. Yes. I can do the after picture. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to do the after picture.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, my camera's a little blurry. Okay, so I just took a after picture so we can just see the difference between your brows. So if there's any question, thank you for attending, Barbara. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Claudia. Okay, so bye, Bree. Is there a code to type? No, that was the face and body. If you attended today the face and body trade show, there was a code for both the Quran Lab and Refectacil items. So not for this one. Thank you. Zoe, thank you for everyone's help. When is the next webinar? We don't have a next webinar set yet, but you could always share your feedback on our social media page, like our Instagram page. Let me know what you want to see next. We've been doing a lot of brow laminations because everyone's getting into it, especially before COVID. There was a little bit of a moment that we weren't, people were not able to practice these services. So now we want to do another one after COVID, like everything reopened. So we did the brow lamination. But if you wish to see something else, let me know. But you can also watch past webinars at refectacil.education.com. You're very welcome. Any questions I didn't answer? There was a lot of us in attendance. It's hard to go through 200 questions. I love when everybody asks questions, but you have my email, education@cbongroup.com, and I will answer many more. Okay? No certification. No, sorry. No certification. Jamaica, watch this. Yep. Any questions? Thank you, Chandara. Chandara, thank you for telling the people. What is the best mixture of tint to get for someone who has grays and light medium brown hair? If they have grays and the light medium won't grasp them, bleach, pre-soften for 3 minutes, and then put the light brown, but only for 1 minute because it's going to pick up the color right away. Okay? If somebody has silvery gray hair, like a mature clientele, you can use the graphite on its own. Yeah, it's really exciting, Karen. I hope you bring this excitement to your salon and try it on your clients. Many people love it. I love it because the fact that I can have thicker brows is really happy because I like the way it frames my face. Brows, that are there can frame the face. The steps, you're going to get the presentation, Karen, because I have to end the webinar now, but you're going to get, right after we close down, you get a thank you email and you have the recording in there. So you can watch that slide. You can press play, pause, and you can see that slide. And if you wish to have the steps in PDF, email me. Okay? Thanks, Renee. Thanks for helping out. It comes to the email that you registered, Marina. It goes automatically. That's how it's set up. Thank you. For the lash lift, we haven't set up a webinar, but if that's what people are interested in, I will try and set up one up maybe for October. If everybody's interested in a lash lift, we can try that. We do have a new glue out, so it might be good to do a lash lift webinar. Are your brows laminated? Yes, I laminated mine because they're not this thick, and I just lightly fill them in with a powder in any areas that I wanted a little bit of a thicker look, but they're laminated, yes. I don't have the pictures together now, but I can slide them on the camera. I can slide them on here for you to see. So that was her before. Oh shoot, I detached the camera. Hold on. This was her before. Oh, but I can post them. Can you guys see that? That was her before. Okay. And that was her after. So darker, thicker. Sorry, the camera is a little bit blurry, but they're so individualized, the hairs, right? It's probably gonna be more blurrier, but you can see each strand of hair. So there is a difference. And if we had trimmed them too a little bit, like we don't have, unfortunately, time to do the whole service in the webinar because we did go over time, it would look even more shaped, right? And you do a little cleaning underneath as well. But there's a difference. There is a huge difference. I like to also show a lot of my webinars
on thinner brows because a lot of that clientele is going to be the one that's going to want this service. We already know it's going to work on thick brows. You know, they already have brows, but what about the thin brows that are missing, that have gaps and stuff? So I like to show a lot of demos on very smaller, thinner brows. So the wow difference makes a big effect on your clients. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As a cosmetologist, can we perform this without a certification? In the US, you gotta check with your state law because I think in some states you're not allowed to. In Canada, if you have your diploma for aesthetics or cosmetology, you should be able to do this as a professional. In the US, the rules are pretty different because you're also are registered, right? And you have a license. I don't do henna brows. Thank you, Annie. I do our sensitive brand, which is like, it's only available in Canada, which works like a henna and it stains the skin. So depending on your state, Jenny, depending on your, thanks, Alyssa. Yeah, depending on your state, you have to check with your state to see if they allow you to do this service after doing a training. I'm not quite sure. And with which each state is different, okay? The new glue, is this post-COVID? No, it's coming out now, so it's an open stock. You're going to be finding it. It's gonna be a little bit peachy hue to it, as opposed to a clear hue. And it's supposed to, you're supposed to be able to use it faster, like you don't have to wait that 15 seconds to dry, maybe in 5 seconds you can start using it. And it's supposed to help keep the lashes down so that they don't pop off. So I've tried it and it worked good, the lashes didn't pop off. So hopefully everybody else can have the same experience, but I'm sure in the future to do a webinar on that and show the new glue, that could be good. Aftercare showering, oh, you're in Canada, Leah? Yeah, so you're good. They can use water, it's fine, but I wouldn't sit there and rub the brows. Like if they want to avoid water, even better. But if they're gonna take a shower, they're gonna wash their body, just avoid your hair, your brows. Don't sit and rub them. Don't put any makeup on. I would say don't put any oils for 24 hours, but if you want to put some brow pencil and stuff like that, I wouldn't do it until 24 hours later. Even though you can, for lash lift, you can put mascara on 3 hours later. You don't want to use any makeup that's going to require oil to remove it because it's waterproof. Okay, so if you want to stay on the safest bet, you can say don't do anything to them for like 24 hours, but water shouldn't affect them. With coarse eyebrows. Okay, so you can soften coarse brows with the bleaching, but the brow lamination softens too, but sometimes not as great as the bleaching. But if you're doing a brow lamination and the brows are pretty coarse, take the saran wrap and hold it down, okay? And that will help penetrate faster, okay? So one more question because I gotta exit. I have another webinar at 3. So the tint one's open. The tint when it's open, 12 months. The glue for the lash lift or lash curl, 3 months. The solutions, 2 months. So the solutions, the lash perm, and neutralizer, 2 months, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you everyone. Unfortunately, I have to end it. But please, you have my email, education@cbongroup.com, and I will answer all your questions, okay? Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon or day. I don't know what your day is. Bye. Thank you.